What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Marcus.
And I'm Shelby.
And we are Crugers with the C. How you doing?
I'm good.
All right. So we got another little segment for you guys.
Life changes in relationships.
Life changes in relationships. What you got?
Just trying to give some tips and some advice to individuals about how to make adjustments when life changes come.
Right.
And life changes that's unexpected and life changes that are expected. We have to, I feel like tip one is we have to make sure, as we always say, keep the communication lines open. We need to talk to each other even if we're feeling a certain type of way. What do you think about that?
I think that's hard if you don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So I would say that it's hard if you don't know how to communicate. I would have to know the depth of the relationship because every relationship is different.
Right.
Our relationship was built different because we were at a certain age. We had been through certain stuff. But some people just going through everything at one time.
Well, I feel like our relationship did that too. We went through everything at one time.
Like what?
When we first got married, moving in with each other and having a baby.
Right.
And adjusting to a new job, adjusting to living with each other. Both of us adjusting living in a new city. It wasn't that new to you, but it was new to me. But still, it was new to you.
Right.
You know, so that happened for the first 2 years of our marriage, I believe. All that went down.
Yeah. How we got through it though, that's the thing. Because you can pinpoint any relationship with anybody, but how did we get through those times?
It was a lot of ups and downs. I think you have to be willing to stick to it, stick with each other and go through it. And I don't think that we were selfish.
I don't think so. I think because we both had something that we wanted to work. You know?
Yeah, and that's another one. You have to be all in. You have to want this to work.
But you got to get to that point.
You do have to get to that point, but what's going to drive you?
That's a lot of what ifs, you know, or because I'm thinking like we at a point to where I honestly think that it's time for us to reevaluate and redefine us.
Yeah.
Because we done been through a lot. We
have been through a lot. But I think because we've been through a lot, we can kind of tell individuals what we need, what might help them.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. You have to communicate. I know that they probably don't know how, but if we put it out there, communication, you have to communicate, then they may go out and try to figure out how to communicate.
So, all right, so if we could teach them how to communicate, I would say the hard stuff. Say it, but say it in a respectful way.
Your tone.
Like
you always say. It's not what you say.
There's so many layers to like communication because you got to know how the person going to receive the communication. You got to know how the person is going to react to what you might say.
I feel like if they're in a relationship and they're having life changes, they should know something.
Yeah, they should.
They should know something. So I feel like we putting it out there that communication is one of the important things. Yes, there's so many layers, but let's start with that. They have something to start with. You know
I think the foundation to that right there is creating that safe place.
Right.
Because right now, even though we've been in a relationship for a time, we still have to set up the safe place. You know, we got to set up that place to where we're saying, listen, we need to talk, we need to lay this and that on the table. So I think like the key to communication, if you don't know how to talk, if you don't know how to communicate with your spouse, create a safe place first.
Right.
You know, like I know some people say we got a safe word. If we say this safe word, then that means we stop.
Right.
Because, you know, we don't need to proceed because we're not hearing each other.
Right. Now I kind of understand what you're saying by communication has so many levels.
Yeah.
So you have to understand what communication is. Communication is not yelling. It's not screaming.
It's not fussing.
It's not fussing. Communicating is talking in this manner, I feel like. And like you said, if you feel like you are getting heated and you getting upset, you need to create that word. And also when it comes to communication, I don't feel like you should leave the house.
Yeah, that's the one rule we got. Never leave.
Don't leave the house. because you never know what's going to happen. For
Right.
one, if you want to get deep, leave the room. Say, I'm getting upset and I'm throwing out my safe word. Y'all take a break. Leave the room.
I also think that vulnerability going to have to play a part in it too. You're going to have to be able to drop your guard. You're going to have to be able to say, this is hard for me to say, but
Right.
you know, I think that's...
Yes, because communication, working through a problem, it's not going to be easy.
Even though we've been together, we still have problems with this. So you're not going to get it in one day.
No.
You're not going to get it in one night. This is a process. Building the communication is process. Building the relationship is process. And it all takes time. 8 years we've been married?
8 years.
8 years going on 9, and
10
still
years together.
10 years together, and we still have problems communicating. So you're not going to get this overnight. You're going to have to take your time.
That's why we say it's levels to this. But you have to be willing to go all in. Yes, your feelings may get hurt. Yes, you may feel prideful or have pride or just don't want to say anything, or you used to going into that safe place of shutting down. You have to think in your head, all of that is not going to resolve anything.
Right.
So you have to fight through it. And you have to get to a point where you say in your head, do I want this to get better or do I want it to remain the same?
Am I being stubborn? Am I listening? Or am I just being difficult? Because you're going to be difficult sometimes.
All of that is going to happen.
Yeah. But
what are some things that's going to happen? Let's put some things out there.
You're going to be stubborn. You're going to be difficult. You're going to be prideful. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that...
You're going to build a wall.
Yeah, you're going to build those walls. And then building walls open up a subfolder or a sub-layer because you got all kind of stuff that's built in those walls.
Right. And
Why are you building walls?
Right. And you may bring in things from the past that has nothing to do with that individual, and you may just put it all on that individual, and you have to remember that individual didn't do that to you.
Can we be real? Can we be real right now? Do you still do that?
Every now and then. It's not as often as it was when we first got married. I threw that wall up and I brung my past in.
And this is 8 years of being married.
And like we learned on Sunday, the things in your past don't define you. You can't bring things from your past to define your relationship, because that is not that person.
Right. Or even if you have problems in your relationship. Like my past, I made mistakes, but the person that I am now, I'm not making those same mistakes.
Right.
You know, so like that don't define me.
Right.
And if that person bringing up the past and you both bringing up the past and you still adding that to your set of walls, still going to have problems.
Yeah.
But if you don't know how to communicate, the first thing is create that safe place and know that these obstacles going to come up.
Yeah. And definitely if you have kids, I feel like they should never know when you're arguing or when you're having a disagreement.
Right.
It always should be in a manner of like how we're talking to you and how we talk to each other. We had to get to this point.
Right.
It wasn't always this tone. We argued, we yelled. I mean,
we still sometimes it come back up and we have those times to where we're at each other, but we're not at each other.
They're less.
Right.
So you have to get to the point where it's a healthy argument. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but it exists because you shouldn't be going into this disagreement trying to hurt one another,
right? And
saying things that you regret,
right? Why you look like that? You said something you regretted?
No.
Oh.
So what else can we say?
I would say those are the foundational things for right now that I can think of. Like, create that safe place.
Yes.
Know that obstacles going to come up and know that it's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
Because it's going to take time. So, like, we want to keep this short and not put out a whole long video.
To be continued.
Yeah. So, no, we're going to end it right here. If y'all got any questions, then email us at crugerswac@gmail.com. And that's all we're going to say about this one.
All right.
All right. We'll holler at y'all later.